This is going to be a little different. I'm Joseph. This is Input English. Today's episode starts out with a problem. We're going to talk about that problem. It's a common problem. It was my problem, and you may have noticed it yourself. It's a challenge. We'll talk about why it's commonly a problem for people, and then we're going to explore some solutions. There will be a lot of comprehensible input in this discussion, and it's going to be relatively long. At the end, I'm going to bring it all together and tie it up with a bow. So what is this problem? My problem was poetry. I was told that I was supposed to enjoy it, but it was elusive. I couldn't figure out a way to enjoy it. I wasn't even sure what it was. So let's start out with a definition. What is poetry? If you go online and look up a definition of poetry, you'll get a lot of information that really doesn't quite fit. Sometimes poetry is referred to as a work of literature, but it may not actually be literature. Poetry may be referred to as a written work, but sometimes poetry is not written. Let's consider that poetry is language that uses special words or writing style to convey feelings, emotions, memories, and thoughts to the reader or the audience. Poetry can evoke imagination or intuition. It differs from other forms of the language, like prose, which expresses thoughts explicitly and usually clearly. Poetry can be written, spoken, or sung. Poetry is very old. People have had poetry ever since they had language. Poetry existed before written languages existed. In ancient times, poetry was used to solve a problem. Without a written language, societies had trouble communicating thoughts and preserving them for future generations. This is where poetry came in, and the special language of poetry allowed people to memorize the verses and preserve the information, preserve the stories. In ancient times, poetry was not written down, it was learned by oral tradition. One person would teach a poem to another. Unfortunately, in the 21st century, and certainly in the 20th century, many people, if not a majority of people, are intimidated by poetry. I suspect that this has a lot to do with our experiences in school, in the classroom. Dedicated and well-meaning teachers introduced us to poetry, but often these attempts failed to connect with a lot of students. In school, I found poetry difficult to understand and intimidating. We were forced to memorize poems, and we were forced to recite poems in front of the class. One of the things that people fear the most in modern societies is public presentations, public speaking. So to force a small child to stand in front of the class and recite a poem from memory is very stressful. That was a big problem for me. In school, we had to analyze poems, and I found those discussions very dry and boring. So as a result of those unpleasant experiences in school, I really considered the door to poetry closed to me. Something changed when I became an adult. I became interested in poetry, but I didn't know anything about it. I remembered a few poems that we had memorized in school, but I didn't remember them well. In the 21st century, we are very well positioned to explore poetry because of the tremendous amount of content that is published online. We can find a huge variety of different poems, and we can explore and investigate that poetry to learn more about it. There are a lot of committed content creators and websites that are dedicated to helping us embrace poetry. In contrast to prose language, poetry engages us in many ways. Poetry engages our emotions, our intellect, our memory, our intuition, and our imagination. The language of poetry may seem odd to us. There are many reasons for this. One, the poem may have been written decades or even centuries ago. Take, for instance, William Shakespeare's sonnets. For most of us, those sonnets seem oddly worded as we read them in the 21st century. The English language has changed a great deal since those sonnets were written. Also, the poet may choose unusual words for stylistic reasons, personal reasons, or based on the need for rhyme and meter. So how do we overcome this? First of all, curiosity. If we're not interested in poetry, if we don't want to learn anything more about it, then nothing need be done. But many of us have curiosity about poetry. People enjoy poetry, maybe I can enjoy poetry. So curiosity is the starting point. The next step is gaining familiarity. We need to learn more about it, and we need to build our experience with this medium. We need input. You can read poetry on the written page. You can listen to it recited. You can watch videos where poems are recited. I think when starting out, one is well advised to start with well-done recitations. Our understanding of the poem can be enhanced by an excellent reader. The next point is we should choose easy poems. Don't start out with Shakespeare's sonnets. They're too difficult. Start out with simple language, easy poems, popular poems, and listen to what you enjoy. It may be necessary to listen to a poem many times before we start enjoying it. Now, a lot of great poems are public domain. Public domain has to do with copyright laws. An older poem, if the poet has passed away, eventually comes into the public domain. That is, the rights to that poem are no longer owned, and those poems are free and available to everyone. That's public domain. When I read poems on this channel, they are all public domain. It is more difficult to perform or read works that are still under copyright protection. That said, there are some magnificent poems that are still copyright protected, but available to you from online sources. I'll give you an example. One of my favorite living poets is Billy Collins. He is an American. He was the United States Poet Laureate years ago, and he was a university professor. I had the privilege of attending a reading here in this area when Billy Collins came to read his own poetry, and it was wonderful. It was a very memorable occasion. You can find a lot of videos with Billy Collins reciting his own poetry. His writing style is a modern one without a lot of rhyming. Billy Collins is a good example of a living poet whose work is available to you online, on YouTube. As you explore poetry, another useful bit of advice is to not force it. Don't force yourself to read poems or listen to poems that you don't like. Find the types of poetry that you enjoy and further develop your interest using that type of poetry. Why should we do this? I think that poetry is a great gift, a gift that the language gives us if we don't spoil it. If we can use our curiosity and find poems that we like, if we can gradually become more familiar with them, we will see that our interest in poetry grows over time. Those are the ways that I have explored poetry and come to really enjoy it. It is now a part of my life, and that's why I offer this on the channel. Now I would like to share a poem with you that fits that pattern. This is a beautiful poem. It's not very long, it's simple, and it does for us what poetry should do. The poem is entitled The Lake Isle of Inisfree. It was written by William Butler Yeats. I will arise and go now, and go to Inisfree, and a small cabin built there, of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee-loud glade. And I will have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings. There midnight is all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evening's full of linnets' wings. I will arise and go now, for always night and day I hear lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement gray, I hear it in the deep heart's core. That was The Lake Isle of Inisfree. William Butler Yeats was an Irish poet. He was born in 1865 in Dublin. He died at age 73 in 1939 in France. He was 23 years old when he wrote that poem. He wrote it in London. Since that poem was written by an Irishman, and it was written about 140 years ago, some of the words and expressions may sound a little unusual and might be difficult to understand. Let's start with the title. The Lake Isle is easy to understand. That's an island in a lake. But what is Inisfree? Well, Inisfree is not English. It's Irish Gaelic. Inis in Gaelic means island, and free refers to heather. So Inisfree is an Irish Gaelic expression that describes a heather island, an island covered in heather. Heather is a flowering plant, a shrub. It grows in a lot of places, including England and Ireland. Heather produces a lot of flowers, and they are frequently purple. The flowers of heather attract bees. There are a lot of flowers, and there are frequently a lot of bees. In the first stanza, you might wonder, what is a wattle? He refers to a house built of clay and wattle. Wattle is an old term for a structure built of sticks, twigs, branches. These are interlaced to make a wall or a fence. And in this case, mud containing clay is applied to create a wall of a cabin. These are not terms that we use in the modern day-to-day, but they're fairly easy to understand. Later, he refers to a be loud glade. A glade is an open area, a meadow, within a wooded area. When he refers to be loud, he is telling us that it is so quiet that one can hear the bees at work on the flowers. He also mentions linnet's wings. A linnet is a small songbird. It's a type of bird. I encourage you to listen to that poem more than once. Absorb the feeling. Let it take you places in your imagination. Picture what he is describing. It's quite magical. And at the end, you will notice that he tells you what he is thinking. The real theme of this poem is exposed clearly in the last two lines. He is homesick. He is nostalgic. William Butler Yeats spent summers in the countryside in Ireland, and this poem describes his homesickness for that time and those experiences. It's all about nostalgia. In the case of this particular poem, you have an opportunity on YouTube to listen to it recited by the author. There is a recording of William Butler Yeats reading this poem, and I will link that video in the description. For me, as a young adult, poetry was an unsolved problem. I had a feeling that I was missing something. I had a feeling that I was not enjoying poetry as much as it could be enjoyed. This is why I did a little exploration, and like so many things, modern resources that we can find online, including on YouTube, are a gold mine for us to do these explorations and discover things that we can enjoy and come to love. In addition to the reading available to you by William Butler Yeats, there are many more modern readings available, and often these more modern readings are easier to understand and have better sound quality. You can find free PDFs for this poem online. You can download it and read it yourself from a free PDF. My introduction to this poem was unexpected. I learned about this poem from music. Recall that musical lyrics are poetry. This poem, The Lake Isle of Inisfree, has been set to music by many musicians with very different styles. There is an American-Irish singing group called Cherish the Ladies. They perform traditional Irish music, and they performed this and recorded it. It's a lovely song, and it is how I learned about this poem. Cherish the Ladies has published their version of this poem as a song on YouTube, and I will link that in the description so that you can listen to it and enjoy it. It's really quite lovely. I hope you enjoyed this exploration of poetry, this invitation to embrace this wonderful part of the English language. I invite comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.